All systems go. Cleared for takeoff.
What is going on, YouTube station? We're back. Sunday edition here. Green eggs and ham in the morning. Little ham and nades Sunday morning. Get your coffee, get your breakfast. Grab that mouse button, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Like we always appreciate over here, like we always ask for. One thing, obviously, we bring you all these shows for free each and every single day outside of Saturdays. That's going to continue right here on this channel. We are no longer doing any premium shows, so all the shows are going to be free. That's just the way that we think is the best route moving forward. So we definitely hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We appreciate that a ton. Hey, Hamwich, let the people know what happened yesterday. You backsassed little Nades core play Paul Blackburn, and he shoved all over the entire slate. It was a very, very profitable evening last night. Little Paul Blackburn in Coors Field against those woeful Rockies. Stack those Braves up and print some money right from the beach. I was at the pool with the friends, built the shipper right from the pool, and my guy Hamwich sent me a message. Paul, get black burnt in the chat. That didn't work out too well for you. How'd your day go yesterday? Happy to see you. Happy Sunday, man. How we doing?
Yeah, no, I'll give Nade's credit on that. I was ribbing Nade's a little bit about Paul Black. He will get you burned, but Nade's burned me with a 22 spot on DK. So congrats to Nade's. Heck of a call. Braves call, stacking with that. That was awesome. But great weekend. Did a little pickleball tournament yesterday, so that was a lot of fun. And ready to pick some winners. I will not be slandering Marcelo Zuna today on this show. I will no longer be slandering Marcelo Zuna. He is shoving it worse than Paul Blackburn right up me. So that's not good. No good in Marcel.
Yeah, and it's going to be a talking point again because these Braves get Colin Ray on the mound, which, hey, it's been Cy Ray all season long, but, man, these Braves are absolutely locked in at the plate right now, just absolutely destroying my Brewers. It's fun to watch because in DFS, I've been stacking the Braves, printing money, a little double edge. If the Brewers win, hey, I'm going to lose money that night. At least that's how it has been. But they've been printing. So Brewers losing, me winning money. It's a win-win situation over here in Wisconsin. We got to say some hi to people in the chat like we always do over here. We got Mike Carr always in here, a little breakfast with Nades and Hamwich. Let's go, Mike. Bump in here. Tolga's always in here. Brock, what's going on, Brock? Okie in here. Welcome. West Virginia Reezer, welcome in. Richie Smalls. Richie Smalls tells you guys, right? Smash that like button. We appreciate you, Richie. We appreciate each and every one of you tuning in here. Sunday morning, we're going to break down this 8-game slate for you, get you the winners, get you some plays. All we ask, again, like button, subscribe button. Let's get you 110 likes. It's going to be a little stretch right now. There's only 70 people in here, but there's going to be more people trickling on. If we can get to 110 likes, we're going to need that. We'll give away our top 2 ranked pitchers and our top 2 ranked hitters. And hey, I'd be shamed not to say that Mr. Paul Blackburn was ranked in the top 2 yesterday on the slate. That's why I cored him. And guess what? Second highest scoring pitcher on the entire slate, $5,700. Only Yu Darvish outscored him on the slate yesterday. And hey, he unlocked those Atlanta bats at those salaries. So top 2 ranked pitchers, top 2 ranked hitters. We do get to 110 likes. We appreciate that a ton. Got to shout out our friends over at drafters.com. Again, NFL season quickly approaching over here. First preseason games coming up here shortly, but the time is now to jump in those best ball streets over on drafters.com. Use that code SHIPIT, get you 100% deposit bonus up to $100. That's double what they typically match. Typically, they only match up to $50 if I'm not mistaken. This gets you a free $100. You deposit $100, you get $200. You can jump in that $20 best ball with $300K up top, or you can get about 70 lineups in that $3 with $30K up top. So you can almost max out the thing, little over 50% max out there, and jump in those streets. Follow our guys, Titletown, Big Marley, the reigning champ, Titletown, I should say. He's got rankings. They got the shows. They do live drafts each and every single week leading up to NFL here. So we appreciate drafters a ton. But this is a baseball show. How much? Let's jump in like we like we always do, excuse me. Let's go pitchers. Let's break down the pitchers. Let's go 9,900 and above, because there's quite a few guys in this 9K range up here. So let's go 9,900 and above. That's Maeda. That's Justin Verlander. That's Merrill Kelly, Blake Snell, Castillo, and Lizard King, Luzardo, all the way up at the top at 11K. Some interesting guys in this range. Some decent ownership. Obviously, Luzardo seems like the 40 to 50% owned pitcher that we find each and every Sunday, it feels like. There's always one of those guys. It does seem like Luzardo gets a nice matchup against Detroit here at home. Justin Verlander also looking at about 40% ownership against that Washington team, who can be pesky. Don't strike out a ton, but it is Justin Verlander there. Any interest in him? And then Kent Maeda is going to probably be about 20 to 25% owned. The rest of these guys all in this range are going to be low owned. So touch on that. Obviously, you got Merrill Kelly, Snell's been fantastic, does get Texas, going to get squeezed between Luzardo and Verlander. Any interest in this range up here at the top?
Yeah. So what are we going on? Are we going 8,100 and above?
We're going 9,900 DraftKings price and 9,900 and above. Kent Maeda, Justin Verlander, Merrill Kelly, Blake Snell, Castillo, and Luzardo.
I think you're on the wrong slate, but
oh, that's FanDuel. My apologies. That would be FanDuel pricing. That is why.
No wonder I was a little messed up. But anyway, just looking at these pitchers, I mean, let's start at the top, especially on DraftKings. Jesus Luzardo was in a great matchup at home versus the Tigers. Jesus Luzardo, who pitched a week ago, threw 115 pitches, was absolutely phenomenal. He's gotten 20 plus DK points in 4 of his last 5 outings. My only concern with him is, like I said a minute ago, he pitched those 115 pitches last time out. They gave him an extra 2 days rest so he could get a full 7 days rest. They're in the thick of it for this wild card race. I think they're a game out or a half a game out. So they know they need him. They know they need him long term. So, will the manager let him go, 90, 95, 100 pitches? I think that's the biggest question mark, in my opinion, would be, can he go that? And at 11K, that's going to be tough, especially because you're going to want some of these Braves in your lineup, I think. So, I mean, obviously, I think Jesus Luzardo, just straight raw points is going to be your number one SP. But, at that price tag with the question marks, I'm kind of scared of. My favorite pitcher up in this top tier range is actually on the other side of the matchup, and that's Tarik Skubal facing these Marlins team who's not very good. They're kind of hit or miss team, if you will. And Skubal strikes out almost 40% of the righties that he's faced over the last month, and he gets 8 of those righties today. His pitch counts have gone up the last 3 starts since he came off the IL. So I think he's, in line for 90 plus pitches, assuming that he's dominating these Marlins like we hope, facing all these right-handed hitters. So I actually like Tarik Skubal for a point per dollar, especially with all that savings you can get. And then I'll just go down to 8,100 nades, and we'll go from there. The other one that I have a little bit of interest in is Aaron Savale. I know the strikeouts aren't where they want to be, but I'll continue to pick on this White Sox offense. I had a ton of interest in Logan Allen last night. He obviously didn't do well for us, but I'm going right back to the well today with Savale. Those would be the 3 main ones that I have in that 8,100 and higher price range. And obviously Verlander has a good matchup. Maeda is hit or miss, but those would be the 3 that I would focus on.
Yeah, no, sorry about that, chat. I was on FanDuel, and it looked a little weird. Typically, there's not that many guys over 9K, so it should have stuck out to me. Obviously, how much on top of things like he always is, so I appreciate that. I apologize. So, yeah, 8,100 and above for me. I really got interest in 2 guys here. It's Luzardo and Savale. Again, I was on Logan Allen train yesterday. Logan Allen didn't do the trick, but again, Blackburn and the Braves did the trick. It was a little hurtful to see Logan Allen scoring 4 points at 9K last night, but Aaron Savale gets the same matchup, ranks pretty good in our rankings over here. I'm just not afraid of this White Sox team. I really haven't been. I get it, right? Jake Berger, some of those guys have some power in there, but 25% K rate on the year at home against right-handed pitching. Savale's been pretty good. Obviously, he doesn't have the greatest K upside there, but limits hard contact, good expected ERA and AA numbers. I think he can go out there and game manage at 8,100. And really on this slate, I mean, I'm seeing 10 to 12% ownership on him. I think that's fine. If he can go out there and get us 15, 16 DraftKings points at 8,100, I think that's plenty on this 8-game slate here. There's not a ton of top end like the Spencer Striders, those guys of the world on this slate. Jesus Luzardo would be the number 2 guy. I think I prefer him over Verlander at similar ownership. Both of them are going to be 40+% ownership, it looks like right now, at least projected at 10 a.m. or so here this morning. Luzardo, that Detroit team, this lineup is just, I'm not afraid of them. Team ISO 153. Obviously, you got some guys in there like Riley Green, Torkelson, Kerry Carpenter, who can hit for some power. But here in Miami, team total sitting at under 3, 2.5, 2.3, somewhere in that ballpark for Detroit. I think Luzardo is clear cut. The SP1 cash games, I probably would start with Luzardo. Justin Verlander, I think is fine. His strikeouts just haven't been there, and this Washington team just doesn't strike out a ton outside of 2 guys in the lineup, Lane Thomas, Stone Garrett. The rest of them all strike out sub 20%, can get some stolen bases in there. So I'm clear fading Justin Verlander here. If he beats me, he beats me. If I'm going up and getting ownership up at the top and paying for someone, it's going to be Luzardo. Kent Maeda's kind of interesting against Kansas City. Again, pretty good matchup here. Pulling up the weather in Kauffman Stadium, it looks to be about 95, 97 degrees with wind blowing out. Kent Maeda can get hit around a little bit. But what's interesting is this Royals team this lineup that they rolled out, which strikes out under 20% on the year at home. So again, the Royals been better at home. I think I'm going to be out on Kent Maeda. So really, I have interest in 3 guys up here, Luzardo, Civale, and Skubal. I'm with you on Skubal. Again, Miami offense, not really scared of them. They strike out right around 22, 23%. 2 guys in there that obviously don't strike out a lot in Arias and Gurriel. But if I had to go up here, it'd be those 3. The other 2 guys, Kent Maeda, Justin Verlander, I'm out on. Let's jump into the next range here. We got, let's go sub 8K. Just touch on everyone else on the slate. We got AJ Smith-Shawver starting for the Braves again against the Brewers. Brewers have been hitting the ball a little bit. Obviously, they've just been getting destroyed, but that series has been popping off for runs. I'm seeing a very high total in that game. Brewers projected for right around 5+ runs. Braves team total over 6.5. You got Kopech in there. You got Christopher Sanchez, who I like a little bit against Pittsburgh. He gets a nice matchup. But the interesting one here is Steven Matz. I'm seeing 35+% ownership on Steven Matz. He is only 5,800, gets the Cubs here at home in St. Louis. Touch on that. And then any other lower owned guys, because I don't see really anyone else down here really getting a ton of ownership. So any else down here in the cheap range stand out to you?
Yeah, nothing really. This is slim pickings down here. I don't think I'll be playing anybody, or not that I don't think. I know when we play anybody on FanDuel with these guys, and I don't know. It's tough to make a case. I know I'll let you talk on Sanchez, but Smith-Shawver making his first major league start in over a month. No, thank you. Belak just doesn't strike anybody out. Steven Matz. Now let's touch on him a little bit. Our proprietary metrics over here love the Cubs today, and they profile very well, rank very well. Project very well. So I'm not a big believer in Matz. And I think I said it last time he pitched. If this was a month ago, we would be stacking the Cubs. And now all of a sudden, Cy Matz is going out there and doing Matz things. And I just can't do it. Maybe have a little interest in the Cubs now, come to think of it, just looking at their projection. So I'm completely out on this range down there. I wish I could make a case for anybody down here, Nades. And I just don't think I can do it.
Yeah, no, it's definitely kind of a gross range. I will say Christopher Sanchez, I love him. Points per dollar, looking at his last couple games, I was just pulling it up with his pitch counts. He's just 7,200. He's throwing 79, 86, 92. So trending upwards in pitch count. Just pitched against those Baltimore Orioles and only had 2 runs, giving up 2 home runs, but he had 8 strikeouts. Now gets a very good matchup here against Pittsburgh. So I like him quite a bit at 7,200 down here. He's clearing away my favorite guy down here. Gets the best strikeout upside matchup on the slate with these Pirates in terms of the 16 teams on this slate. So I like him quite a bit. Steven Matz is interesting. People are looking at what he just did 2 games ago against the same Cubs team. Absolutely mowed him down. So that's why he's getting a ton of ownership, that on top of the price point. People want to play Luzardo at the top. They're going to come down here, play Steven Matz, especially looking at those game logs against these Cubs. But man, this Cubs projected lineup strikes out just at 20% clip. Can hit for some power in there with Cody Bellinger, obviously Swanson, Morel. Looking in Busch Stadium, it's mid 90s, upper 90s, very hot and humid there in St. Louis, excuse me. There's some slight wind blown in, but Steven Matz, I think he is viable if you're punting all the way down. But man, at the ownership there, I don't know. It is still Steven Matz. I mean, we were stacking against this dude in the beginning of the year. Obviously, he's posted 2 back-to-back pretty good starts, one against Arizona, one against these same Cubs. So if I had to pick, I think he would be fine, but definitely I don't love it. Christopher Sanchez, far and away my favorite guy down here in the cheap range. Really don't have any interest in anyone else. I mean, Rich Hill, no interest really against Philly. I think some of the Philly bats are pretty interesting. But if I had to pick 2 guys down here, Matz would be the second just because it's pretty gross. But I'm trying to end my teams right around Sanchez. Grab Savale, grab Luzardo, grab Skubal. One of those guys is kind of where I'm at. So go ahead and rank your top. We'll do top 3 on this slate here. Hamwich, rank your top 3 pitchers, and then we'll jump into game by game for hitter breakdown.
Yeah, I'm gonna stay in this top tier. I'm gonna stay in this top tier and go Tarek Skubal 1, Jesus Luzardo 2, and give me Savale would be my third pitcher.
Yeah, no, I like it. I'm gonna go Christopher Sanchez, number 1, just with the salary. He allows you to get some of those Atlanta bats, which I love here tonight or today, much like everyone's going to. So I like him. I'm going to go Savale, number 2, and then I'm going to go Luzardo, number 3, but 3B would be Skubal. So those are kind of the 4 guys I'm keying in on this slate. Obviously, I only play a couple lineups. You can certainly play other guys in here, Justin Verlander, things like that. But that's where I'm planting my flag today. Again, if you guys are just tuning in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We bring you these shows each and every day for free. All we ask, hit that like, hit the subscribe. We're making a push towards 3,000 subscribers, trying to get there certainly before NFL. We're going to do a ton of more giveaways, especially when NFL comes around. 3,000 subscribers, though, we are giving away a couple memberships, I do believe, right here, right in time for NFL. So definitely hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. And again, if we do get to 110 likes, I will give away our top 2 ranked pitchers, top 2 ranked hitters. And hey, yesterday's slate, Paul Blackburn was in the top 2. So if you would have got that, would have been very nice for your lineup. SP2 on the entire slate at 5,700. So definitely help us out a ton there. Do that. But let's go game by game here. First game, let's talk about it. We got the Brewers heading into Truist Park to face these Braves. Man, these Braves have just absolutely been nuking the slates, crushing the ball, hitting bombs. I mean, Marcell Ozuna must have listened to our show last time when you were slandering his name, and he said, "Hold my beer." The dude is just absolutely crushing the baseball right now. Austin Riley. I mean, TDA yesterday got robbed of, at least a double, maybe a triple. Our guy there absolutely robbed him in the gap, and then gets another sliding catch to rob him. So these Braves, 6.5 implied run total, just about absolutely nuking. Now get Colin Ray, who I don't think is very good. He has been pretty solid in terms of on the season limiting damage, but I think that changes here. Pretty nice weather, 90+ degrees in Truist Park, double-digit wind, right around 7 to 10 mile an hour winds blowing out to left field. Are these Braves? Are you going to these Braves? And then any of these Brewers who are also hitting the ball, and Smith Shawver making his first start in over a month.
Yeah, I mean, definitely on these Braves. I think after this game, Colin Ray is going to want to go back to Little Rock, as he sung about back in the 90s. For all you 90s country music fans out there, you may know what I'm talking about. But in any event, we talk about it all the time. I mean, 1 through 9 for these Braves. I mean, especially the lefties. I mean, you saw the lefties are really going to punish Ray today. They profile better, but I think you can play lefties and righties, mix and match them. 1 through 9. I mean, Orlando Arcia hit a bomb last night. I mean, obviously Marcell hit a bomb in the 6 hole. Rosario hit a bomb in the 7 hole. I mean, it's just it just never stops. I mean, even get down there, you would hope to get a break, and you just don't. So fire up these Braves. They're going to be popular. You're going to have to get creative. And as we always talk about, it's not who you play, it's how you play them. So make sure you're playing these Braves. And then on the Brewers side, I actually have a little bit of interest in these Brewers side. We've got some good hitting weather. We got Smith Shawver making his first start in over a month in the bigs. And so I think you can play these guys, and you're going to have to, especially on DK, where you're going to need some salary relief. I don't mind them. I mean, Christian Yelich is a little bit pricier than most, but I think you can play play those guys. Our boy Andrew Rey Mysterio Jr., you think you can play him. Anybody, and I would say 1 through 7 on the Brewers for salary purposes. Now, I don't think they're going to go out and double dong or anything, but I think they can be some good fillers for us today.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I love this game. I like both sides. Definitely prefer the Braves. Braves, my number one stack of the day again. They're going to be owned. I mean, they're going to get ownership for a good reason. I mean, they should. Colin Ray, I definitely prefer the lefties. Looking at current and last season, Colin Ray, sub 20% strikeout. I mean, just about 17% K rate to the left-hand side of the plate. ISO numbers north of 240. In terms of left-handed bats, fly ball rate over 30%. So that bodes pretty well for the guys like Ozzie Albies there, Matt Olson, Eddie Rosario, Michael Harris. I mean, kind of start with those 4 and throw in anyone else that you want. Acuna, Sean Murphy, Austin Riley. I mean, you name it, throw them in there. Our guy Ozuna, who said, hold my beer, we're going to just start dropping bombs all over the stadium here. I mean, he hit one backside last night, right center field, and I was just like laughing watching the game. Was drinking some spicy water there with the friends out back on the patio, and right away, Ham, which I thought of you when Ozuna's hitting a laser beam right center field backside for a home run. So, yeah, 1 through 9 for me in play. Definitely prefer the lefties, but man, you can't go wrong with any of these guys. And the lower order of guys like Orlando Arcia. I mean, 4,200 for Orlando Arcia. He's going to be very, very low owned. Probably going to be the lowest owned Braves in that lineup, and I don't hate that. Fills a shortstop position that isn't typically usually very great. On the Brewers side, yeah, Christian Yelich is locked in at the plate right now, but man, he is $5,400, so you do have to pay for him. Likely going to go pretty low owned, but man, he's got a 327 ISO over the last 30 days. So I think he's a great play here. Looking at Smith Shawver, his sample size. I mean, lefties absolutely nuke this dude. He's got almost a 40% fly ball rate against left-handed bats. That bodes very well for Christian Yelich. Lefties are hitting for a 312 ISO against this guy. So love the lefties in this lineup. If Sal Frelick is in there, I love him. Carlos Santana, obviously from the left side of the plate, likely against Smith Shawver. I like him. Christian Yelich, obviously. But I do think these guys are going to go lower owned for the Brewers. Guaranteed 9th inning at bats. They have been hitting the ball a little bit. Obviously, they've just been getting crushed because the Braves have been scoring double-digit runs. But the Brewers still been scoring 5, 6, 7 runs in the series. So don't hate either side. I think it's a viable game stack on this shorter slate. Great hitting conditions in Truist Park. So love this game to kick it off. Next game on the slate. Yeah, go ahead.
I'll ask you a question. So I know you're a big believer in hot streaks are real in baseball. Are you going to the boy Marcell Ozuna today? 2 bombs last night, a double, a bomb, I think a night or 2 before that. I know you always talk about hot streaks are real. Are you going to play Ozuna today?
I think he's a great play. I mean, 4,100 for what he's been doing right now, hitting in the 6 hole right behind Sean Murphy. I mean, I think he's a great play. It's just I do prefer the lefties a little bit, but I won't be – I mean, you could fill up your outfield spots with Rosario, Harris, and Ozuna. Be different right there because you're not playing Acuna in your Brave stack. Makes the stack a little bit more affordable. You can get a little bit more expensive mini stack there. Some of these other big hitters, and you're unique right there because you did leave Acuna out, which, man, it's scary to leave Ronald Acuna out, but he is 6,600, and that's one way to differentiate yourself. So I do think Ozuna is a great play. And, yeah, I'm a firm believer in hot streaks in baseball. So, yeah, Ozuna is a great play at 4,100 there. Next game on the slate, we got the Phillies heading into Pittsburgh to face Rich Hill and the Pirates. Some of these Phillies bats are pretty interested in me. I don't think Rich Hill is any good. Obviously a journeyman there. We've been stacking against this guy for years, it feels like. We've actually played this guy early in the season, but it was against those Brewers when they couldn't hit their way out of a wet paper bag against a left-handed pitcher. But do think these Phillies, it's a little bit different here. For the Pirates, personally, for me, it's a complete stay-away spot. I love Christopher Sanchez at his price point here. I think he has a great game here against these Pirates, but talking these Phillies bats.
Yeah, I don't have a ton of interest in these Philly bats. The only guy that I really do like, and I like him a lot, is Alec Bohm batting in the 4 hole today. He profiles very well versus Rich Hill and the pitches that he throws. I mean, the two high-profile Phillies are lefties. Rich Hill's a soft tossing lefty, so that that doesn't scare me as much. But I don't think I'm going to full stack these Phillies. But I really do like Alec Bohm today, batting in that 4 hole. He's batting up higher than he normally does. Profiles very well, so give me some Alec Bohm, and that's it for this game. No Pirates for me either.
Yeah, I think Alec Boehm's a great one off there. Double position eligible, first base, third base, just 3,500. Can hit for power. I think that's a great play there. I'm not going to stack up these Phillies. I like other guys better on the slate, but I do think they're fine for mini stacks. Kyle Schwarber, you can always play Kyle Schwarber. Trey Turner there in the 5-hole, I think is fine, but he is expensive. So Alec Boehm, yeah, I'm definitely with you there. Pretty good numbers against lefties on the season. On the Pirates side, Pirates are a complete stay away spot, have no interest. I mean, Nick Gonzalez, I guess, if you want a super cheap second baseman, 2,700, I think he's fine, but I don't love it. Henry Davis, 3K. I mean, sure, stud prospect, can hit for a lot of power, but man, he hasn't hit lefties very good in his limited sample size. So Pirates, complete stay away spot for me. Again, Christopher Sanchez, one of my favorite SPs on the entire slate at the price point. Next game on the slate, we got the Nationals heading into New York to face the Mets, face Justin Verlander, the chalk of the slate, him and Luzardo. Verlander 40+% owned here. The Nationals just a 22% K rate on the season. A little bit inflated for two bats. Lane Thomas, Stone Garrett do strike out a lot, boosting that. But the rest of this lineup strikes out sub 20% against right-handed pitchers. Are you going to any of these Nationals and any of these Mets against Trevor Williams, who I don't think is a very good pitcher at all? The Mets do have a 4.7 implied run total. Where are you going?
Yeah, this game's tricky to me because, I mean, we saw it last night with the Mets, who should have, beat up Patrick Corbin around the yard, and they got the news of Max Scherzer being dealt away, and they're trading the pieces. I mean, if you're a Mets player, I mean, how happy can you be that, your ace got traded right before the game? Verlander's on the block as well. It's got to mess with you mentally. I've obviously never been a major league player, but I would think that, in the clubhouse, they're obviously talking. They're probably not happy. Maybe they've given up on the season because they know they're not going to make the playoffs. So I have a little bit of interest in these Nats just based off that. I mean, your boy CJ Abrams always can do it with stolen bases and singles and doubles. And so I really like CJ Abrams, against Verlander batting in that leadoff hole. So give me a little bit of him. And then I want to play these Mets, but like I just alluded to, I'm probably going to be lower than them. I mean, I know they're going to be very popular today, but just based off what I've said with them, in essence, throwing in the towel on the season, that's going to lower my exposure to them in these GPPs that I'm playing.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Obviously, yeah, Scherzer getting dealt for Acuna's little brother. They're a prospect going to Texas. So Texas is making some trades for some starting pitching. Obviously, Texas, one of the best teams in the league. I think they're definitely going to be there at the end. So they obviously needed to improve their starting pitching. That's what they've did. Gone out and got Max Scherzer here. Trade deadline, obviously 2 days away. So definitely keep an eye. That's one note to call out. Keep an eye on any of these trade rumors, guys like that. Be ready to make pivots in your lineups because, with the trade deadline 2 days away, stuff's going to be moving. Some of these contender teams are going to make some moves to make that push, get there, push them over the line to get to that ultimate World Series is the goal at the end of the season. For me, I do think these Mets are kind of interesting. I mean, I just don't think Trevor Williams is any good, especially against lefties. I mean, just a 10% strikeout rate against left-handed batters, right around the 200 ISO. Not a good ground ball pitcher, sub 40% ground ball pitcher. Decent fly ball rate, 27% to both sides of the plate. So I do think some of these Mets, Brandon Nimmo, Francisco Lindor, DJ Stewart, if he's in there, Brett Beatty. I did see that lineup just come out. I haven't looked at it yet, but yeah, I do think these Mets are fine. I'm not seeing them getting a ton of ownership, to be honest with you. I think ownership for the most part on the slate, at least what I'm seeing now, is going to spread. So I do think they're fine. Not one of my favorite stacks, but I think they're up there in this 8-game slate. So I don't hate it. I think they're fine. But looking at the weather, it's not the greatest hitting conditions, right around low 80s, 79, 80, 81 degrees, somewhere around there. Double-digit wind kind of blowing straight across in from left field, kind of out to right field a little bit. So kind of blowing across the field. So not the greatest hitting conditions, but I do think it's just a bet against Trevor Williams. Being Trevor Williams, I think you can get to him. On the National side, don't love it against Justin Verlander. I think there's worse pitchers to pick on the slate, but like you mentioned, right, the morale thing, baseball is a morale sport. Once you kind of lose your clubhouse, trading away Max Scherzer, stuff like that, the Mets are kind of down. No, they really don't have a hope at the playoffs for the most part. I mean, that's a pretty loaded division over there anyways. Could be a case to play some of these. I mean, Candelario, is fine. I think Dom Smith is fine. CJ Abrams, but yeah, don't love the Nats personally on the slate. Just don't like Verlander a ton. I just don't think he has a strikeout upside needed, especially at the price point, especially at the salary up at the top. I mean, second highest priced pitcher on the slate with a 20% K rate on the season against a team that doesn't strike out a ton. That's kind of the reason I'm going elsewhere there. Next game on the slate, we got the Tigers. We got Screwball on the mound, Luzardo. I think this is more of a pitcher's duel, so not a ton of interest at all for me in this one. In bats, I think it's a pretty easy stay away spot. Do you see anything I'm missing here? How much?
Yeah, no, nothing for me. My number 1 and number 2 pitcher on the slate. So this will be pitchers only, no bats for me from either side. I mean, I don't like either offense to begin with, and I think 2 better pitchers, especially on this slate. So, yeah, just give me the pitchers, no bats.
Yeah, I'm with you. No bats for me, not even a one-off in this game. Next game on the slate, we got the Guardians with a pretty healthy implied run total facing Kopech in Chicago here. Let me pull up the weather, take a look. Seems to be right around upper 70s, wind blowing straight across the field. Obviously, that can change in the blink in Chicago there. I don't know. These Guardians have been hitting the ball decent. I mean, they're fairly cheap outside of Jose Ramirez. Kopech can get barreled. I mean, he's got a 14% barrel rate against opposing bats on the season, so gets hit pretty hard. Guaranteed 9th inning at bats for these Guardians. It's overall it's kind of a weird slate in general, just 8-game slate. There's not a ton of absolutely like smash spots. So these Guardians, I think, are pretty interesting to me. And then on the White Sox side against Savale, personally, I don't have any interest. I have a decent amount of interest in Savale. I'm going right back to the well. Obviously played Logan Allen last night. Going to go right back with Savale here. So not a ton of interest on the White Sox side, but touch on those Guardians because they do have a 5+ implied run total here.
Yeah, no, I really like the Guardians. I wrote the Guardians up over there at SHIPIT.com, so you can go check out and see the stacks that I'm on over there. But I like them against Kopech. I mean, Kopech is wild. Nade's alluded to it. He does give up some power to lefties. They are going to, and you get the full 27 outs. They are going to be popular, especially on FanDuel. The lefty bats are coming in. The big boys are coming in, plus 20%. So it is an 8-game slate. So I think they can be on the winner. Normally we talk about a 13-game slate. It's tough for them to be on the winner, but they can dink and dunk and hit, 1 or 2 over the fence and, be on the winner on an 8-game slate. So really have a lot of interest in this Guardians team, especially the lefties. Josh Naylor, one of my favorite bats in this Guardians lineup, can never go wrong with Jose Ramirez either. So give me, 3 lefties, 1 righty on a FanDuel stack. And I definitely want to pick on Kopech. And then, yeah, I'm in on Aaron Savale. I'm not a big believer. Tim Anderson, I know he went yard last night, but he's batting in the leadoff spot. And I'll slander him now and say he's not going to do anything. We've been doing that all season, I feel like. But give me Aaron Savale against this White Sox lineup.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I love these Guardians. I mean, they're going to likely, at least their projected lineups, likely to roll out 7 lefties. Obviously, 2 of those guys are switch hitters in Josh Bell and J-Ram there. But looking at the last 30-day numbers, Kopech against lefties, 18% strikeout rate, a 25% walk rate. And lefties are hitting for a 545 ISO with a 40% fly ball rate. I mean, sign me up for that. He's allowing 50% fly ball rate. 286 ISO to both sides of the plate, a walk rate north of 26%, and a K rate of just 16.7%. Sign me up for these Guardians. I love the Guardians here today. 1 through 9 are firmly in play. Don't love Miles Straw and Arias if those are the 2 righties in there. But all these lefties for me, I love these Cleveland guys. And Matt, I see it in the chat. Cleveland has no power. Well, I mean, there's some power in this lineup. Josh Naylor can hit bombs. J-Ram can hit bombs. Will Brennan is a cheap power bat that can hit bombs there, 26. When you're getting a 50% fly ball pitcher, I'll take my chances. Obviously, I don't typically play Cleveland too much, but I do think they're a fine play, and that's fine, Matt. You don't have to agree with us. We're just giving you the plays that we're on out here. But when Cleveland wins the slate, then you can say I told you so. And if they don't, well, guess what? We got baseball tomorrow on Monday, and we'll be back. Can't always tout everyone, but I do think the Cleveland is a fine play here tonight. Fine stack on this slate against Kopech and the White Sox here. Guaranteed 9th inning at bats, everything like that. On the White Sox side, just the one-off for me, Jake Berger. I always bring up Jake Berger. Dude just smashes home runs. He continues to be fairly reasonably priced there. Second base eligible now for Jake Berger, which is very nice. Can fill the second base position, so that's nice that he finally got that added. 3,900 there would be my only interest, but I do like Savali quite a bit. Next game on the slate, we have the Tampa Bay Rays heading into the Houston to face B-Lock and these Astros. B-Lock can get hit around a little bit, 18% K rate on the season, barrel rate north of 11%, so it does get hit decently hard. And these Rays do have quite a bit of power bats in this lineup, at least projected. Josh Lowe, Siri, Luke Raley, Arozarena, Brandon Lau. I mean, Yandy Diaz even at the top, Wander Franco. These Rays are kind of interesting a little bit to me. Guaranteed ninth inning at bats against B-Lock and the Astros. And then any of these Astros who finally got healthy, got their big sticks back, and Alvarez, Altuve. Any interest in this Astros lineup?
Yeah, this is an interesting game, especially on an 8-game slate. I mean, I think you got to have a little bit of interest in both sides. I mean, B-Lock is not a world beater by any stretch of the imagination. 18% K rate on the season. I think you said that a minute ago. And this Rays team, I mean, obviously they've cooled down a little bit since the start of the season, but the middle of that lineup looks very enticing to play. Luke Raley, Randy Arozarena, Brandon Lau, Jose Siri, Josh Lowe. I mean, and then you mentioned Wander Franco and Yandy Diaz at the top, who are always viable. So I do have some interest in this Rays lineup. Be interested to see who they finally roll out when their confirmed lineup comes out. I haven't seen it come out. I'm just looking at the projected lineup. And then on the other side, I mean, 17 Astros runs last night. And you see the difference that having Jose Altuve and Yordan Alvarez have. It's just it makes their lineup so much better. I mean, obviously you have two perennial all-stars out, and then you get them back. It's going to help your lineup. Jeremy Pena had a good night. Altuve bomb. Bregman bomb. I mean, they scored 17 runs, and Kyle Tucker went 0 for 5 last night. So I generally don't like picking on bullpen games, which is what it's going to be for the Rays. But I think this is a case for a variety of reasons where you have to take a hard look at the Astros because this offense is so potent with those big guns back in the lineup.
Yeah, no, I agree a little bit. I don't love it personally on the Astros side. I mean, I think they're fine. I just prefer other teams. I mean, they're definitely in consideration. I prefer the Rays side of this game personally. I just don't like typically attacking bullpen games too much. But yeah, I mean, certainly you can play Kyle Tucker, Alvarez, Chas McCormick even in there. I mean, sure, you can play those guys, but I prefer the Rays. I prefer Luke Raley, Arozarena, Brandon Lau, Jose Siri if he's in there, Josh Lowe. I think those guys that can hit for power. The Rays do strike out, but they do hit bombs. That's what you want in DFS is home runs. So definitely prefer the Rays side. I think both sides are fine. Astros would be more of a mini stack for me personally. Next game on the slate, we got these Twins who have been hitting the ball pretty well. And I'll get Ryan Yarbrough here, lefty, in Kauffman Stadium, guaranteed ninth inning at bats. It is very, very hot in Kauffman Stadium. Upper 90s, 97 degrees, wind blowing kind of out throughout the duration of this game. And it's my guys. It does look like Buxton's supposed to be back in that lineup, but these Twins have been hitting the ball a little bit. So touch on this one, and then any interest in these Royals against Kent Maeda.
Yeah, I think Buxton went yard either last night or the night before, so I think he is back. Your boy Max Kepler went yard again last night, and this was a high-scoring affair. So, you talked about that weather, and I do have some interest in these Twins. The biggest, most frustrating thing about these Twins is obviously the pinch hit risk. So I would be careful in who you stack, right? We've got a lefty on the hill to start the game. Once they take him out, do those righties start coming out? I think Buxton is generally safe from pitch hit, righty on righty. So I definitely have interest in Buxton. And then any of these lefties, I think, are safe as well, just because they should be in there for the duration of the game. On the Royals side, man, especially Bobby Witt Jr., man, oh man, he's had quite the weekend. Can it continue? And looking at our proprietary metrics over here at SHIPIT Nation, we love the Royals today. And I know, Kenta Maeda is going to have some ownership. You can practically get the Royals for free today, especially on FanDuel. So I'm going to take a deeper dive into this Royals team. I think they've put up 10 runs both games. Bobby Witt hit that walk-off grand slam on Friday. Then they posted 10 last night against a very serviceable pitcher. So do have some interest in the Twins, and I do have some interest in the Royals as well, just based on how well they're swinging the stick this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, could change here. Kent Maeda's been very, very good in the last 30 days. I mean, a 38.7% K rate last 30 to both sides of the plate, almost a 40% K rate to the lefties. So, I mean, not a ton of interest personally, but it is good weather. Royals are typically better at home. I mean, Bobby Witt, Melendez, Salvi, Drew Waters, I think those guys. I mean, Drew Waters is a very, very nice value play, 2,400 at the outfield. He's got a 305 expected ISO on the year in his 43 plate appearances at home against right-handed pitching, just a 20% K rate as well. So I do think he's a great value play there. I don't mind him. MJ Melendez in the 3-hole at 2,900. Another nice value play there. He's got some power in him. Bobby Witt always got stolen base upside, so I don't mind those guys. On the Twins side, I think, the Twins are a good play. Michael A. Taylor, if he's in that lineup, obviously he strikes out a lot, but he's been hitting for a little bit of power on the year. 2,200, I think he's fine. Kyle Farmer. Kyle Farmer's pinch hit risk. Solano's going to be a pinch hit risk in there once Yarbrough leaves the game. Byron Buxton, I love him today, 5K. He typically hits lefties very well, so I don't mind him. Carlos Correa there. Those two guys are pretty safe. Polanco's pretty safe being a switch hitter there, so I don't mind those guys. Solano, Farmer are going to be nice value plays, 2,600, 2,500, probably going to hit 4 or 5. But again, they're likely going to get 2 at-bats because they will get pinch hit for. Kirilloff's been hitting the ball pretty well. Willie Castro, fine value play there. So don't mind the Twin side. Not one of my favorite stacks. I like them more against the righty, just when they can load that lineup with guys like Kirilloff, Julian, Kepler, those guys. They typically hit righties better. So don't mind the Twins, don't mind the Royals, but don't think it's the greatest spot overall. I think this is the last game on the slate for DraftKings, at least. It's the Cubs heading into St. Louis to face the Cardinals, face Steven Matz, clearing away the chalk SP2 on the slate at his price point. Just 5,800 on DraftKings, which is very cheap for especially what he's been doing. 22 plus DraftKings points in both of his last 2 starts, I believe. Kyle Hendricks on the mound, kind of a game manager, doesn't get a ton of strikeouts, but doesn't get hit around very often. Any interest in the bats in this one? Cardinals do have a 4.7 implied run total. Cubs, on the other hand, sitting right around 4.3. Where are you going in this one?
Yeah, this is a tough one because Kyle Hendricks is a noted Cardinals killer, but he's not any good. Like you said, he can't strike anybody out. I was all over the Cardinals last night, and they put up a whopping 1 run. I think, worst on the slate or close to the worst on the slate, but I think I'm going to go right back to both sides. We really love the Cubs over here as well. They're projected really highly versus Steven Matz. And can we get a back-to-earth Steven Matz game? If you can, Cubs are going to be unowned. I think the Cardinals will be unowned as well. So I don't mind. I don't mind either side of this team, especially the righties. Suzuki batting in the 2-hole today. Horner leading off. Horner has stolen base upside. Dansby Swanson profiles very well. Yan Gomes batting in the 4-hole. Always love targeting players that normally are, lower in the order that have been moved up. He's batting in the 4-hole today, so going to get more at-bats, hopefully have runners on base. So do have some interest in these Cubs righties. And then, like I said a minute ago, I don't mind picking on Hendricks. He's not a good pitcher. Can the Cardinals break out, versus him? I mean, Goldschmidt profiles very well. Nolan Gorman, who I haven't given up on yet. I mean, he's boom or bust type play. But give me both of these sides, Cubs and Cardinals.
Yeah, I don't mind this game overall. Again, nice weather. I definitely prefer the lefties for the Cardinals. Hendricks doesn't strike lefties out, gets hit pretty hard by lefties, and the Cardinals got some good ones. Brendan Donovan, Newt Bar hit a double dong, yesterday, day before, something like that. Nolan Gorman. Dylan Carlson will likely hit from the left side of the plate, so there's 4 lefties that you can play. Last 30 days, Hendricks against lefties, 261 ISO, just a 13%, 12.5% K rate. So I think that's fine. But Hendricks, typically a ground ball pitcher. I don't like stacking against ground ball pitchers too much, but I don't think it's the worst case. I prefer the Cardinals more as a mini stack here. I'm kind of pushing the chips in on the Braves today, personally, myself. On the Cubs side, Cody Bellinger, the dude is absolutely crushing the ball, especially against lefties on the season. one of the best hitters in baseball as of late. I think he's a great play. He might be trying to hit his way out of Chicago there and get to a contender. So I think Cody Bellinger is a great play. Swanson, Morel, Yan Gomes, like you mentioned, Yan Gomes against a lefty, always nice price point there, 3,200 at the catcher position. So don't mind either side of this game. Steven Matt's going to get a bunch of ownership. These Cubs can hit some power, could get to Matz a little bit, but he has been pretty solid as of late. And didn't just mow down this Cubs lineup about 12 days or so ago in his last start against these guys. So don't love the Cubs side. Cardinals side are fine for a mini stack, but the Cubs do get you some leverage on this slate against Steven Matz, and it is only an 8-game slate, so typically you can look more into that leverage situation. Next game on the FanDuel slate. Obviously, this game is not on the DraftKings slate, but we will hit on it because my guy Hamwich is with us on the FanDuel slate. Did include the Coors Field game like they always do for whatever reason on Sundays. It's pretty frustrating overall. It's the Athletics who absolutely nuked the slate yesterday. Paul Blackburn mowed down these Rockies. Now Hayden Winiski, I think, is on the mound, right? Something like that for Athletics against Ty Block for these Rockies, man. He ain't any good. 9% K rate on the season. Athletics, 6.2 implied run total. Obviously, being in Coors Field, guaranteed nothing at bats. Rockies also 6 implied run total. 12.5 total in this one. Where are you going in this game on FanDuel?
Yeah, it's frustrating that they put this game on the slate that that's an hour after all the other games. And Ty Block, let's start on the A's side with the bats. Facing Ty Block, who's going to go 2 or 3 innings, depending on how well he does. And we've said it earlier, we typically don't like picking on bullpen games, but man, this series has been just giving us runs all series long. The first 2 games, I think the A's scored 10 plus both days. But so I have a little bit of interest in these A's facing a lefty. They'll obviously bring a righty in at some point, but these A's has just been pounding the ball. Tony Kemp batting leadoff has had a good series and profiles very well for us over here. Brent Rooker, always good, especially against a lefty. So I do like the A's a little bit more than I like the Rockies. You said it a minute ago. This Rockies lineup isn't any good. And I saw Luis Medina was either going to be the starter or the long reliever. So I'll put you on the spot, Nades, with Luis Medina pitching. Do you have any interest in Luis Medina, or are you siding with the Rockies bats in this game?
Personally, I didn't look at this game because I don't play FanDuel. I don't like the product over there personally. But I wouldn't. I just like Blackburn. He graded out pretty well over here on the metrics. So that was kind of the reason for him. Not really signing up to play Luis Medina. I don't think he's any good. So I do think these Rockies are fine plays. I mean, CJ Cron, Nolan Jones, Ryan McMahon there is fine. But yeah, definitely prefer the Athletics here against Block and the Rockies bullpen. Guaranteed 9th inning at bat. Zach Geloff continues to be pretty cheap there. 3,500 on FanDuel. Hit a bomb yesterday, I believe. Brent Rooker, Jordan Diaz, Laureano, JJ Bulladay's got some power there. All these Athletics are super cheap on FanDuel. I mean, mid 3Ks, low 3Ks, and upper 2Ks on FanDuel is nice price points for a team that has over a 6 implied run total. Obviously, they will be pretty chalky over there. If I was playing on FanDuel, I wouldn't sleep on this Coors Field game because we have been seeing these Athletics nuke the slates as of late. The last couple of days, double-digit runs in both games. But personally, I don't look at this one too much because I do focus mainly on DraftKings. That's all 8 games for DraftKings, 9 games for FanDuel. We got 103 likes, 188 watching. Let's see if we can get 7 more likes. We'll give away our top 2 ranked pitchers, top 2 ranked hitters. But before we do that, Hamwich, give me your low-owned pitcher call of the day that you're going to.
Low-owned pitcher call of the day. I mean, I said my top 3 earlier, so I'm going to give just one that's off the board that I think can do some damage. I'm going to go with Rich Hill as my low-owned pitcher of the day. I think if you're in a money crunch and need somebody, Rich Hill I have a little bit of faith in versus Phillies offense would be. I mean, he's probably 6 or 7 down, but low-owned pitcher, give me Rich Hill.
Yeah. All right. Well, I like it. Rich Hill. Personally, I'm not going to go to Rich Hill. I would choose other guys. And one of those guys I'm going to choose is Mr. Christopher Sanchez. Talked on him a ton. He has the best strikeout matchup on the entire slate. His pitch count has been rising, has posted a very good score the last game against a much better offense. Now gets Pittsburgh here. I like Christopher Sanchez for the Phillies to have a great game today at 7,200. I like him. I have seen the people have responded. We're at 113 likes. So after we give our home run calls of the day, we will give our top ranked pitchers and hitters on the slate. And then we will get out of here. We appreciate you guys a ton for hitting that like button, hanging out with us on the Sunday morning. Hamwich, your home run call of the day. Where are you going, man?
Home run call of the day. I gave the people 2 on Friday, and they both went yard. I'm going to try to do it again. I'm just going to give one. I like my boy Josh Naylor batting cleanup today for those Guardians. Matt Smith. I'm going to me versus Matt Smith today. And give me Josh Naylor to take Kopech and these Guardians to get 10-plus runs.
I like it. I like it. Those Guardians, Matt Smith. We're going against Matt Smith in the chat. These Guardians are going to do it for us. I like the Guardians quite a bit, but I'm going to my favorite stack of the day. I'll give you 2. I'll give you my guy Matty Olson, Matty Ice, Matt Olson, the lefty against Colin Ray there in Truist Park for the Braves. My favorite stack of the day, and then my lower owned one is going to be down in the 9 hole, Mr. Michael Harris himself. Give me those lefties on the Braves. Love the Braves today against Colin Ray. Colin Ray gets hit very, very hard against left-handed bats. I love the Braves lefties today. My favorite stack of the slate. Let's give away the top 2 ranked pitchers on our metrics over here at SHIPIT Nation. Again, proprietary information, $59 a month does get you access to all of our tools, our content, core plays, projections, you name it. We have it over here for every sport, including MMA, NFL coming right around the corner, NBA shortly after there, NHL, you name it, we got it over here for you. But our number 1 ranked pitcher is the guy that I already brought up, Mr. Christopher Sanchez, checks out as our number 1 overall hit pitcher on this slate. And then our number 2 pitcher is Aaron Savale against those White Sox, who we both talked on quite a bit. So Christopher Sanchez, number 1, Aaron Savale, number 2. Going to the hitter side on this slate, we have Mr. Kerry Carpenter ranks as the number 1, very, very low owned there against the chalk pitcher of the slate. So Kerry Carpenter is the number 1 hitter on the slate. And then number 2 ranked hitter on the slate, another value guy, it's Drew Waters against Kenton Maeda, 2,400 there. So those 2 low owned value bats there with those pitchers, nice little contrarian way to go on the slate. But again, that's going to do it for the Witching Hour show on this Sunday. We appreciate you guys a ton. Good luck in your contest today. Hopefully you guys take it home. But for how much, I'm Nadesify. We'll catch you guys next time. Let's ship it.